Morel Hunter here in the woods again. It's that time of year in upstate New York. And so far the bounty has been reasonable. I'm not unhappy by any means. I'm a little unhappy about these guys, but that's just something that I've learned to get used to. Let me see if you can see this guy down here on my leg. You should be able to see him walking there. We're just gonna pick that thing up and flick it off because they don't do us any good. Hey, they are tenacious. All right, already been nailed by a few of them so far. I cannot flip this around. Stand by. So these are the kind of woods that you find morels in. There's the remains of an old apple tree. I look for them a lot. Apple, elm, ash. Not so much ash for me. This is today's haul so far. I've only been out here about half an hour, but I do know where to go. Always looking for new areas. When I'm in the woods, I like to speak quietly and carry a big stick. This is an Aikido Joe. It's about 50 inches long, and it's just about perfect for moving branches and stuff out of the way. As you can see, it's very thick in here. Where I want to get to, if you look up there, is the remains of I think that's an apple tree. It could be cherry. It's hard to see with all the vines on it. I am going to go over there and investigate a little bit closer because there is apple around here. So I'm going to step underneath this right here. I'll stand by. I'm going to change. Okay, gather up my bag and take my stick, and I'm going to venture through this right here in hopes. Look, there's some mushrooms down there, little brown mushrooms. We try to stay away from them. We watch where we step. Oh, this is tough. Oh, look at that. Oh, almost fell over. Look at that right there. Can you see that? There it is. Cute little guy. That's our prey. That's what we're looking for. All right, let me pull out my handy. Oh, there's another one right there. Set this bag down. When there's one, there's usually more. Sorry for the vibration, but here we go. So I've got my mushroom knife, and I'm gonna just take a little slice out of that guy. Doesn't need to be dusted off. Drop it in the bag. And look at this. Here's another one right here. Growing in, grew in around that. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to look around for more, because that's the rule I go by. When there's one, there's probably more. And there aren't many firm rules in morel hunting. Of course, there is one rule that stands out. If you want to be successful, you really got to get out there. You got to really get dirty. Oh, look at that. Okay, so this is right at the base. I think that's an apple tree. That's all twisted up. It has the look of the apple. And if we go down in here, we'll see a little group of morels right there. And oh, it's getting better by the second. All right, I will turn this off. If I see anything incredulously magnificent, I'll tune back in. Okay, well, I haven't wandered very far. You have to be very careful where you step, because there's one right there. And using that same philosophy, where there's one, there's probably more. And I'm going to zoom in here. You'll see there's a little nest of them right there. So I will turn this off and look for more. I'm still in that spot where I just found a handful of morels, and it's an apple tree behind me, and I'm looking in the distance, and that is an elm tree right there. And typically we want elm trees that are in distress. More specifically, even the Dutch elm's disease is wonderful for morel hunters, because somehow the symbiotic morel knows that the host is in distress, and it decides to fruit that year. The rest of the time the mushroom lives underground. So although this one, I don't see any signs of Dutch elm's disease, you know, it's old enough to have it, and it is cracked, broken. So, you know, sometimes you can find little cracks up above at the very top of the tree. It's a vascular disease. So I'm going to work my way through this jungle right here. Let me see if I can zoom out. If you can see what I have to deal with, but this is morel hunting. You know, it's not a pretty sport. It's not for everybody. If you're walking a trail and you're looking at the sides of the trail and you hopes to see some, You get lucky once in a while, but trust me, I'm a successful morel hunter and it hurts. So back at the base of the said elm tree that was in distress, I've been all around it. I find morels anywhere from the base out to about 15 feet. Although generally they're a foot or so from the base out to 5-6 feet, often more. I'm always amazed when I walk in and I stand for a second and I look and I don't see any. And then I just sit there for a while and tune myself in, and all of a sudden one will pop up and there it is. And once I see that one, I keep looking and there's more. And I get up, choose a different vantage, get down low, look in there, use my handy stick to move stuff around, and voila. When you get to an area that you suspect morels, you should always watch where you place your feet as you're walking in. I've come so close to stepping on morels so many times. Here I am talking to you and I'm looking down at the ground, because this is what a morel hunter does. They look, and they look. The best thing that you can do is to think about morels before you go to sleep. Look at pictures of them on the internet and get that image in your mind, and then you'll see one and it'll pop out at you. Boing. They have a unique shape and coloration. This is a terrible day in terms of light. The dried grayish brownish leaves along with the low light is very, very hard to see them. But it doesn't stop us from trying. It's just a case of getting out there, having a general idea of where you should be, and looking. So stand by for more clues. So here's another morel called the half-free morel. The top of it looks very similar to the other morels, however it's not attached to the very thick stalk. Here's another one over here. Let's see if I can get that in there. There you go. And they are edible. I don't eat them because they grow the same time as regular morels, Morchella esculenta, and that's what I absolutely love. They are my passion. But these are good indicator mushrooms. Where these grow, you can expect to find morels, Morchella esculenta, or yellow morels, even black morels. Polyporus squamosus. So here's an elm tree, clearly in distress. It's been dead for a long time, but that wouldn't stop me from looking. The bark is peeling way off. Here's a good look at morel bark. Elm bark, also known as the morel tree, what it looks like. And growing off that dead elm tree is Polyporus squamosus, also known as Dryad's saddle. Technically an edible mushroom, though you wouldn't catch me eating it. But it's a good indicator because they're usually out before, during, or after, depending upon the year, when morels are out. So there it is. So here we are in some thick underbrush. And like I said, you got to be really careful where you step. Notice back in there, there's a guy right there I can see. And then I think I saw some more in here somewhere. But they are here to be had. Oh, right over here. There we go. Stay tuned. So here we are. Let's just harvest these guys very gently. Reach in there with a crooked knife. Let's pick them up. Oh boy. And you can see there's a little dirt on the bottom and a slug. So this will be hard. I don't think I can show this and hold the camera at the same time. So I've got a brush here on the end of my first I'm going to flick him off. Then I'm going to hold that with my finger, and just so you can see, I try to dust these off. If there's too much dirt and it won't come off, I'll just cut that part off. So here I am in the thick of it again. Always having a great time. Any time in the woods is a great time. Great time to be alive. There's a tree. It's quite dead. It's an elm. You could call it a morel tree. If you look over there, there's a Polyporus squamosus growing off of it right there. the dryad saddle. And as I scan around and look, oh look, right there. Good thing I stopped here. There's one. I see another one. All right, we turn this up. Right there's a nice specimen. We'll take both of those. You could leave some of these and let them grow a little bit larger. Oh, I see more off in the distance. The problem is, you'll be leaving them for somebody else. So they're out of here. So here I am in another spot that I happen to know grows some black morels known as Morchella elata. Very similar to the Morchella esculenta. Some people don't like these that much. I will eat them all day long, although I do prefer the yellow morel better. Morchella elata, the black morel. This is what they look like, baby. Yeah. These two. So let's see if we can persuade this one out of the ground. Hold on a second. Got my knife and boom. And there it is. A nice little specimen. So, me and my trusty Aikido Joe are heading back out into the woods in another location. This location is loaded with ash trees. Stand by. Let's see where we are. That forest right there is probably about 80% ash trees. Ash is another notable tree for finding morels. That being said, I've not found them on ash trees here. I found them on the couple of apple trees that were here. That's an ash tree. Do a cursory look. Okay. Well, I'm going to truck up here, and if I find something, I'll tune back in. So I never did find any morels in the last location, but the season's still young, so maybe we'll find some there later on. I've been hunting morels for about 35 years. It's something I really enjoy doing. And even if I don't find anything, I'm all right with it because I'm still out in the woods. The only possible downside would be all the ticks I pull off of my body, and today there were quite a few. About 4 of them were actually embedded, but they all come out, and I seem to never get Lyme disease, so I'm very fortunate. But if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them, so feel free to put some questions in the comments below. And I suppose I could even be enticed to make some more videos. Throughout the season, I will be hunting chanterelles, black trumpets, hen of the woods, and chicken of the woods are all great mushrooms to be found around here. That's about all I can think of. I've enjoyed doing this, and I'd like to thank Craig Maines, aka Hawk, and T-Rex, who are currently hiking the Appalachian Trail. I'd like to thank them for their inspiration. I've watched Craig make a lot of videos, and I've been following him for quite a while. And I thought that I might get on board with that and make some videos myself. I think I have a lot to offer in the woods, and so look for more in the future. But hit that like button, and if it works out, I'll do more. Thanks. Bye.